What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another Dota 1 commentary brought to you by B-Ballin. And this has been a while since I brought you a Dota 1 game, and it's been even longer since I brought you a solo cast of a Dota 1 game, but I'm going to be casting a lot in the near future. Probably solo, so I figured I might as well get back into shape, hit that old punching bag up, and try to get into this game. Now, of course, this is a Southeast Asian Dota 1 match, and I think this is a show match between the PlayCyberGames and various other Southeast Asian All-Stars, but we have players that we haven't seen in quite a while. We have players from Rocat Neolution, Myth Trust, who we haven't seen for a minute in Dota 1 or in Dota 2, and of course people like Pacific Inmax, or Pacific Emax, SVR, the Cambodian team, a lot of different Dota 1 All-Stars. But there's a reason why I picked this game out of, a couple other games. And if you want, I could try to cast the entire series, but this is the second game in the series, and all the games have different players in them, so there's no continuity. Keep in mind this is a show match, so every game has different players and different teams. But there's a special reason why I chose this game. It's because of this guy. And actually, if you've been reading Cyborg Matt's blog on Reddit on Dota 2, then you can see that the textures and some of the effects of Goblin Shredder have actually been updated in Dota 2, so they are working on him. So I figured out now might be a good time to check out what Goblin Shredder can do. The Southeast Asians have been experimenting heavily with Skywrath Mage, and I might be able to bring you a commentary of him relatively soon. But for now, I'm going to do Goblin Shredder because it looks like Goblin Shredder might be in the more immediate future just because they've been working on him a little bit harder over in the Valve Studios. But yeah, Goblin Shredder, a very interesting hero. This is actually my first time seeing him in a semi-competitive match. Keep in mind this is a show match, but players have a lot of pride, they want to take this seriously, and of course they don't want to disappoint their fans. And I think GhostGamer.net Gods is a player in one of these matches, and the other two matches in the series actually have Skywrath Mage. So if you want, I might be able to bring you some of him, but yeah. This is going to be a pretty interesting game, Goblin Shredder, and heroes like Morphling, Nyx, and a lot of cool, interesting heroes that we don't see very much in 6.76c. So, anyway, we'll choose the players and teams. It looks like SD is playing the Shadow Shaman, NN is playing the Shadow Demon, B, the Cambodian Farmer, is playing the Lifestealer. It looks like Inma is playing the Puck, and Huggy Bear, or Hug, or Huge, Hug, I think, is playing the Dragon Knight mid-solo position, of course. Meanwhile, Lakel is playing his famed Morphling. Now, Morphling, of course, hasn't seen their stick. He's been non-existent in Dota 2. But I've always thought Morphling a relatively interesting carry just because he has waveforms, so he can actually do something in the early game. But still, first time seeing Morphling in 6.76 in either Dota 1 or in Dota 2. Mythtrust TNK is playing the Darkseer. Abba is playing the Goblin Shredder. Ints is playing the Enigma, and Min is playing the Jakiro. From what I've been following the Southeast Asian scene, Jakiro, Skywrath Mage have been trending up heavily. Jakiro is pretty much picked in as much as he is in Dota 2 at this point. But other than that, I can't really tell you too much about the Southeast Asian Dota scene. It's been a while. But meanwhile, Goblin Shredder is a very interesting hero. He's sort of like a strength caster like Tiny, but his spells are much more spammable and needs so much more mana to work with. So I think probably the best items to get on him are items like Lincoln Sphere, like Bloodstone, defensive items that can allow him to cast his spells as often as possible in these battles. But it looks like the stun is a bit miscoordinated from the middle lane. I don't think Goblin Shredder would have died, but meanwhile on the top lane looks like Fairy Dragon Puck has to get the heck out of there. But that Elusive Orb should be able to get out of there just fine. Now, I've heard that Jakiro's Ice Path is a bit different in Dota 1 than in Dota 2. In Dota 2, it's actually a bit more imbalanced, but I guess we'll find out as it comes. Like, I guess in Dota 2, Jakiro automatically tracks the enemy heroes a bit more. I'm not too sure. But I read that in the development thread, so we'll see how that goes. Meanwhile, Jakiro's just harassing with Dual Breath, and Jakiro, a pretty strong hero. I think he always fits the Southeast Asian scene, because he has a large base mana pool. He does have relatively spammable spells as an intelligence hero, and of course having HP in such a kill-heavy environment is always a good thing. It's a good thing. Meow Enigma, gonna jungle it up. But yeah, back to Goblin Shredder. I think probably the best items for him are maybe Bloodstone, something like a Leshrac build, Bloodstone BKB, or something like that, as Shaoshan's going to come in for another gank. Goblin Shredder is going to be in for a world of hurt. Here comes the Shackle. Looks like Dragon Knight going to maneuver himself into position, gets the Dragon Tail off. A little bit of mistimed chain stunts, but it will be surely enough to get the kill. No, just kidding. Guess what? He's got the grapple. He's got the tree swing. I'm not too sure what the name is, but it allows him to hook onto a tree from a pretty far range. At level 1, I think it's around 800 range, because I know it's 1400 range at level 4. He can hook to a tree as a 4-second cooldown, and relatively favorable mana cost with Goblin Shatter. His weakness is much like other heroes with insanely powerful skills. He has ridiculously low stats. As you can see, he's using it to farm right now. Pretty high base mana pool, and you can see his first spell, Whirling Death, being used. It does pure damage, I think if he's near a tree, but I don't think he was near a tree that instance. And it lowers the primary attribute of the hero it hits for about 7 seconds by 15%, so not insignificant. If you're facing an int hero, it'll reduce their intelligence, so less damage and less mana. If you're hitting a strength hero, it reduces their damage and HP pool. An agility hero, they get probably the best. They only reduce attack speed and armor, but still pretty annoying to deal with. And meanwhile, Goblin Shard going to be continuously firing up. He has a passive, but I think in this early game you probably don't want to max the passive. Maybe get 1 point, because if you get hit more than 4 times in engagement, which is what its first rank up does for you, then you're pretty much going to be dead anyway. So that's probably why you don't really want to level up the passive as early as possible. But when you get hit, you get +1 armor, as Darkseer Surge was baited out. And here comes an engagement. Can they get the stuns? Darkseer Surge should be cooling down. I think Darkseer should be okay. Disruption, yeah, Darkseer should be just fine, as like the disruption was a little bit late. Soul Catcher not going to be enough, and he just surges on out of there happily. Meanwhile, the top lane looks like Ice Path going to fly in. Cool particle effect, did not notice that. Meanwhile, Puck going to go after Morphling. Morphling desperately trying to morph everything to strength. One more hit, nicely done by Inma. The Puck managed to kill Lakel's, the famed Southeast Asian Morphling player. So Lakel is probably not too happy with that. I have not seen Mythtrust in either Dota 1 or in Dota 2. Dota 1 replays have been very hard to come by recently, but if you do want to find them, you can check out Screen Guide. I don't even know what happened to October GEST. Maybe we'll see in September. But SMM is coming up, and all I know, the only team that I know who's going to SMM is Dreams Radiant from the Philippines, representing their country, but looks like he's engaging on the bottom lane. Iron Shell gonna be cast, but no, Darkseer just gonna run back and forth, completely bypassing all forms of harassment. Harassment, I cannot speak. Darkseer, of course, probably the best offlane hero in Dota 1 and in Dota 2. So he's pretty annoying to deal with, as Enigma just gonna convert those Eidolons, harass those wolves, picks up a Soul Ring. But yeah, back to Goblin Shredder. I think he's a really interesting hero, and I think he has a lot of potential because he has a lot of avenues for escape with his True Grapple. He does a lot of damage, but you just need to get the mana pool. And you can see Goblin Shredder going for the bottle, has an Invisorin, so can Invisorin himself out of trouble if the stuns are not properly timed. His ultimate, or his passive, like I said earlier, if you hit him, he gets +1 regen and +1 armor. Stacks up to 16 times. I think it has a pretty decent duration, so it'll probably last the entire team fight. So that helps his stats out a little bit, but it doesn't help out his poor mana growth. I think his intelligence is like 1.8, something ridiculously low. It looks like Inma somehow managed to soul kill the Morphling yet again. Not too sure how Lakel's is feeding, but I guess that cast point and that increased morph mana cost is really hurting him, and looks like Dragonite gonna initiate on the Goblin Shard, just gonna use Hook Out and the Invisor and gonna get himself a bit more mana. Stay in lane, try to get some experience. Probably won't escape right there because he did not get Dragon Tailed. He's actually going to try to scout for the rune, but the rune is not there because they have wards. But right now, it'll be interesting to see what they do with the build for Goblin Shredder, because I think he'll probably need Blades to, as he does a cheeky thing. Uses Whirling Death, then immediately grapples himself out of there. So reducing Dragonite's HP by a bit, but it jumps right back up to 834 HP. But his ultimate is really, really cool. It's like Chakram. As you can see, it's going to slow him by an additional 5%. By every 5% HP the enemy is missing, so the enemy is at low HP. That blade will slow you a ridiculous amount. It does constant damage per second, pretty long DPS, but only problem, or pretty long range. I think the maximum is like 2000 range, and it can be cast continuously if you have the mana, but it does take mana per second like a Leshrac Ultimate. It does take initial mana cost as well, so it's similar to Voodoo Restoration, Post Nova, skills like that. But yeah, I mean, once you get the mana, this hero is pretty terrifying. I've actually not played him, I don't think, in Dota 1. So that's a bit unfortunate, but hopefully he'll be implemented into Dota 2 soon, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of strategies are revolved around him, because Dota 2 at the moment, it's just so exciting to watch, because all these strategies are completely different. As the waveform does hit just on the tip, Enigma's going to circle around, just camping out that lane. Puck is just going to teleport out, knowing Enigma is fully there, teleports back to his tower so he can get the experience and prevent any damage from going on his tower as well. So that's enough of my Goblin Shredder babble. So he picks up Nerd for a bit of mana regen, gets some HP. Probably start ganking as well. But just looking overall at the state of the game, Goblin Shredder beating Dragonite in the middle lane, even with the help of Shadow Shaman from time to time. Looks like Nyx, the Lifestealer, is getting pretty much free farm, picks up an early Helm of Ironwood, and check out the creep stats. 42, 43 are the max on the Sentinel, meanwhile the Scourge are getting complete decimated in terms of farm. So Sentinel, with the puck completely winning the top lane, seems to have a solid advantage, even if the Dragonite is dying a bit. That Shadow Shaman, even if it didn't pick up a kill, did help Dragonite secure an early lead in terms of farm. And that's often what Dragonite needs. He just needs levels, and he needs his farm. So he's pretty independent, and that's why we don't really see him too much. Games don't really last so long. And of course, the Southeast Asian build, not too fair, but you know, actually, from time to time, we do see the Southeast Asian build in Dota 2. Rush that Lothar's Edge, aka Shadow Blade. But it's going to come down to this Goblin Shredder for the Scourge, and Darkseer will have to have an impact. He picked up an early Soul Ring as well. Probably just going to go for the standard like Pipe, Hood, Mecha. Actually, I'm not too sure if the Southeast Asians rush Mecha on Darkseer like the current Dota 2 teams do in the metagame, as Shadow Poison is going to be used on mid lane just to scout things out. Puck just going to chill in the background. Looks like he picks up an early Null Talisman. If this was Apple Park, I'd say this might be a Dagon for Puck, as Waning Rift's going to be casted, but does not even want to Dream Coil, just going to harass Morphling back. Realizes Morphling, he ain't got no regen, so he can't stay in lane too long if he takes one more orb and a bit more harass, but looks like that Dual Breath is going to come in. Ice Path going to be used as well. Looks like Huggy Bear manages to kill Abba, the Goblin Shredder, on that bottom lane, as Puck manages to escape the heck out of there, but here comes Enigma. Gonna cast a Malefice, but he baited out. I wonder if he stun canceled it. He did stun cancel it. Nicely done by Enigma. Gonna use Black Hole as well with the Malefice. They really don't like that Puck. Can't really say I blame them, because he's been giving that Morphling nightmares. But a little bit, a tiny bit unnecessary, if I must be brutally honest. And without that Black Hole, top lane, they're in for a world of hurt. Gonna use the Eidolons just to give him some sustained DPS. As Shadow Demon's gonna have to get the heck out of there, so at least the top engagement will be a little bit more favorable for the Scourge, since Shadow Demon is solo HP. He's got to back the heck out of there. And here comes Initiation by Goblin Shredder. 4-second cooldown on that hook. Will he be able to use that? He's going to use the tree grapple again. 4-second cooldown. Will be able to grab himself to the Shadow Shaman. Shadow Shaman going to try to die to the neutrals. But here comes Abba with the Whirling Death. Manages to kill off that Shadow Shaman. Picks up double kill. But all the while, Dragon Knight is farming. And Lifestealer, who's pretty much had no impact in the game, has a 9-minute armlet. That is pretty dang good farm. And I like this build a lot more because Nyx, the Lifestealer, does manage to lose some of his effectiveness as people start picking up Ghost Scepters, Force Staffs, even the new Force Staff, especially since supports can pick it up much easier. It's not as good as semi-carries, but supports are loving the new Force Staff chain. You know, that Poison going to be hurting that Goblin Shredder back a little bit. He's going to try to find the rune. He tried to grapple to a tree, but looks like he just barely missed, or maybe got stunned out of it. Not too sure how those mechanics work, but Demonic Purge is going to be used, and one more attack will be the end of Abba, and Huggy Bear, after dying, managed to pick up a killing spree. So nicely done by the Dragon Knight to get himself back in the game, as Enigma picked up a very fast Blink Dagger, not going for the traditional mechanism build we see so often these days, going for a very much more aggressive build, as Jakiro, being so tanky, actually broke the Dream Coil. I think if he didn't break the Dream Coil, he might have been okay, since Enigma is going to reinforce, and now Puck will be able to escape relatively easy with the help of Shadow Shaman. Going to cast a Disruption, but now Shadow Shaman might be in a bit of trouble. Actually, Malefice is on cooldown. Puck going to come back in for Lakel's, as the Goblin Shredder Illusion is going to come in, just say, come at me, bros. As Enigma going to be okay for now, and Darkseer is here for the offensive, trying to pick off the Shadow Demon, but Disruption should be back up relatively soon. Just kidding, as I managed to miss-hit a key right there, swivel the screen around. No scope, 360 style, but Darkseer does take the fall. Gonna go back on the offensive, but here comes Goblin Shredder. You do not want to underestimate that Whirling Death. Does pretty good damage, but Lifestealer finally says, I am done farming. It's time to play the game of Dota. And 4-second cooldown. Looks like the Shadow Shaman trying to get in position to draw out the bait. He's gonna hook in, but they managed to immediately nuke down the Shadow Shaman. Nicely done. Can Puck get one more hit, earning up? Goblin Shredder will be able to escape, and he runs back into the orb. My god, what a misplay, as Macapire is gonna be used, but Lifestealer, he don't care. He's just going to go on the offensive, has the armlet as well, and that 1-second or 2-second armlet toggle is huge. But here comes Dragon Knight, spoiling everybody's fun. Managed to pick off the retreating Min, and now Morpheus is going to have to get the heck out of there. So it looks like the team comprised of Myth Trust is doing not too well in these engagements thus far. It looks like an early Shadow Amulet being picked up. The Pendant of Energy is a Shadow Amulet, apparently. Didn't even know that, but it makes a lot of sense. Is picked up by the Dragonite, so gonna go for, not even hiding the fact that he's gonna go for that Lothar's Edge. Very, very much a staple in the Southeast Asian Dota 1 scene, and even the Southeast Asian Dota 2 scene. And if you want to catch more Southeast Asian Dota 2, check out GEST. Not the Dota 1 tournament, the Dota 2 tournament, as that should be a pretty exciting tournament to watch, presented by LD and Gods from Beyond the Summit. But yeah, Dota 1. Still pretty cool, but I must be honest, here comes the Malphus Blink onto the Shadow Demon. Can he escape Chakra Magic, or Chakram? Whatever it's called is going to be used as another Whirling Death comes in. Goblin Shredder pretty good at picking off heroes, but does he have the mana to sustain it? And unfortunately, since his stat growth is not the best, he doesn't get much tankability. His strength growth is only like 2.1. Pretty bad, as there's going to be a Hex. They are going to go back in for it, as Ice Path's going to go in, going to stun the Enigma. Nicely targeted by the Dragonite. Huggy Bear picks up a Mega Kill. Very nicely done, but it looks like Shadow Shaman might pay the price for his insolence, as Waveform going to come in. And Lifesteal is like, you ain't got no Waveform, what are you going to do about it? But it looks like they have a Darkseer Vacuum to destroy the trees. Goblin Shredder is like, can't destroy my trees, I'm the tree destroyer, I am Lumberjack, and I'm okay. As he's going to go back in for the Lifesteal, trying to use his passive to the best ability. Iron Shell, he's trying to really use the passive to try to outdamage a Lifesteal, but that's not going to happen very frequently. Meanwhile, Puck is just having so much fun on the top lane, just killing everybody. Is going to go for the Dagon build. Nicely done, as he's just going to be able to KS people left and right. But yeah, back to the Dota 1. I think the Dota 1 games I'm probably going to cast in the future, or if they're not like ridiculously good, probably just going to be heroes that are not yet in Dota 2. Because other than that, like, not going to lie, the replay system and Ghost of Games on that are pretty inflated. Like, if you see the highest rating games, like, they're 10s for some teams rather than for like Emax versus, I don't know, SVR rather than like MYM, so it's a bit harder to find recommended replays. But here comes Goblin Shredder, gonna get disrupted. Probably should back the heck off since no allies are there for reinforce, but does not care. Gonna get hexed as well. He's completely trapped, gets war trapped as well, but does have the nets. He's gonna use the blade to chop down the trees. Not too sure what Abba was doing since he dove into 2. He had no allies, and he's just like, whatever. Meanwhile, Puck gonna say lags, as he's gonna try to go in for the Morphling. Can he get the silence and stun off with the Dagon? Looks like he's gonna come in. Does not have the Dagon, just gonna use some harassment. Morphling picks up a Lincoln Sphere, or picks up Perseverance, but Puck manages to nicely snipe the Courier. Lester gonna apply a bit of pressure on that lane, using Infest, that AoE damage to clear down the creep wave. So he's seeing a lot more Lifestealer. As Regen Rune gonna be popped by Puck, he should take the fall. Enigma has his Blink Dagger, and looks like Ints does manage to get the last hit with the one last tick of that Malphus. So 11-9, but so far the map control firmly in favor of the Sentinel side. As Dragonite comes in, finishes off the Enigma. Dragonite just having a huge impact stage game. Level 13, 15 minutes in. Nothing like a hand of Midas, not even a Meepo, just getting kills left and right. Picks up a Gloves of Haste. Could be for a late game hand of Midas, because, you know, the Philippines like to do that, but most likely for a Maelstrom or an Armlet. Probably an Armlet, as Armlet on DK, pretty strong, gives him a lot of DPS, gives a lot of HP, does everything a DK wants. But yeah, like I said about Dota 1, yeah, unless there's like new heroes, and I'm not meaning Abaddon, because Abaddon, we've seen enough replays of Abaddon. He's pretty boring hero in my honest opinion, as looks like there's going to be initiation on Jakiro, but Surge by the Darkseer manages to get away. There's going to teleport in by Dark Green the Enigma. He's going to be able to cast Black Hole. He blinks, he gets disrupted back. He's going to get hit, hexed up a little bit. Those auto attacks constantly canceling the Blink Dagger with Malphus will be enough to kill off the Shadow Shaman Rasta. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Puck is going to go in on that Morphling. That Morphling is getting completely owned by a Puck. How emasculating, as Puck is going to try to chase him down, strength morphing. He realizes, oh crap, Puck actually has a Dagon. I might just actually die. Meanwhile, Hasted Dragonite is going to charge in. He is the Burninator in full form, but unfortunately he morphs back into a puny mortal. Meanwhile, Trees just trying to pick up as much farm as possible. See what item he's going to go for. 800 gold in the bank. Has been dying, even though he's picked up a decent number of kills, as pressure is going to be applied to that top tower. Myth Trust, or the team compose a mistrust. I think this is like the PlayCyberGames team. It's trying to go on the offensive. I think it's like the Thai team versus the Filipino team. Or the Filipino plus Cambodian team, I suppose. But yeah, back to Dota 1, like, unless there's some really epic matches, I probably won't cast games unless they feature heroes like Goblin Shredder. I don't cast any Skywrath Mage's games yet, because I don't think he's nearly as interesting like Shredder, who's a very aggressive hero. But, you know, if there's enough demand for it, and enough growth to make it worth my while, then, you know, I'll probably take it into consideration. Hey, I mean, if there's demand there for it, just don't ask Luminous 24/7 to the commentaries, as he honestly does not enjoy casting Southeast Asian Dota 1 matches these days. As looks like there's initiation on Shredder, gonna grab himself out of there. Arma gonna be used as well. Probably could have kept the Chakra up and may have been able to kill the Lifestealer if he didn't have Infest, but just withdrew it very fast. I'm not too sure how fast the mana drain is. I think it's like 40 mana per second every second the Chakra is out. Giant Sawblade gonna come in. And it looks like the Sentinel just had a huge advantage. Dragon Knight picks up a hand of Midas. I swear I've not watched this game before, but okay, you know, standard 1730 hand of Midas. Keep in mind, this is a show match. Both teams trying to have fun. Goblin Shredder, there's the reason why he's not picked in Southeast Asian competitive Dota matches, as there's going to be initiation on the Darkseer Soul Catcher. Gonna completely wreck Darkseer's face, as his face not too happy. But Puck with the Dagon, trying to roam around, probably a bit disappointed. He's not been able to get any kill steals with that Dagon. Tactical, just wanted to make sure that opponent didn't get away, bro. That's what the Puck is saying. But unfortunately, he's not been able to say that this game so far. Meanwhile, Shadow Shaman, level 8. Can they initiate Enigma with a very aggressive Blink Dagger? Gonna go onto the Shadow Demon, just gonna use the Chakram to slow down. Uses all of his spells, probably not necessary, and he might have to be careful with his mana now. Shredder just not afraid to use all of his spells, and is going to teleport in as he pops a Smoke into Deceit. Not too sure if the Sentinel actually saw that, but a save is called by the Puck, and I'm guessing they didn't see it, but they're going to smoke up. Can they do anything with this smoke? Lifestealer has a Basher. Basher Armlet, 19 minutes in the game, pretty far on this Lifestealer is, as he's not afraid to farm up. And there's going to be a Blink out. Probably could have stayed in there with the Black Hole. You might want to consider Black Holing, as Jakiro is going to die. Ice Path going to fly in. A bomb managed to pick off the Shadow Demon, or the Shadow Shaman, as a couple more hits on the Darkseer will mean the end of his life. Meanwhile, Morphling pathetically trying to deal as much damage as possible. Chakram used again, not for too big of an effect. Probably should use it again on Lifestealer, not too sure about the cooldown. I thought it had a 0-second cooldown, but Morphling desperately trying to change everything in strength. Meanwhile, the pursuit is on. Dagon Puck managed to kill the Darkseer, and now a bot is caught between a Dragon and a Shadow Demon, getting juked for a bit. Or the Sentinel, but managed to clean it up. Inma managed to pick up a double kill with the help of his Dagon. And that Enigma not being quick on the trigger for the Black Hole might have saved Scourge a lot of deaths in that engagement, as they lost 3 for 1. And the only victim was the Shadow Shaman. Gonna have to do a bit more research on Goblin Shredder. I thought the cooldown of his ultimate is very, very low, because it has a mana cost similar to Voodoo Restoration and Pulse Nova, but I guess I might be mistaken. Wouldn't be the first time, nor will it be the last time. Meanwhile, Morphling's still trying to farm up his Lincoln Sphere, as he's just having a miserable game this so far. 1800 HP, not even morphing any damage into agility to get his last hits going. Just gonna try to tank up as much as possible, because he knows Puck is lurking in the shadows. Dragon Knight could initiate with the invisible Lothar's Edge, do immense amount of damage, 150 damage to Dragon Tail, a couple of hits, Fire Breath will mean the end of that Morphling's life. So constantly keeping up his HP pool, but meanwhile, Sentinel, they're just like, we don't give a crap, we're gonna go after this Roshan. What are you gonna do about it? And the answer is nothing, unfortunately. Lifestealer does not get the feast damage, but Open Wound's gonna be used to lifesteal it up. Shadow Demon, Shadow Poison gonna be used to scout out the area, trying to vacuum up onto the cliff, but not gonna be too effective. As Dragon Knight gonna pick up the Aegis Immortal. He is level 16 with the BKB minus Lothar's Edge, 20 minutes in the game, ridiculously farmed. And Shredder is gonna have to get the heck out of dodge with that hook out. But will there be engagement? Oh, Demonic Purge gonna be used on the Hero. Disruption gonna be holding him in place. As 2 heroes gonna isolate, but 2 heroes on the Sentinel gonna split themselves off, but completely not necessary in that engagement. So it looks like the Scourge getting completely contained by the aggressive heroes on the Sentinel side. And Dragon Knight pops his Elder Dragon form, still around 40 seconds left, so he can do significant damage onto this tower. Maybe take the game, because guess what? They have an Aegis and a BKB up on the Dragon Knight, and BKB will make one big dragon, as it looks like the puck can initiate Dragon Tail. A couple more hits. Black Hole gonna catch 4 heroes. Nice Black Hole. Only Lifesteal gonna go to town, but Lifesteal might be all that they need. Dragon Knight goes back and Viz. Enigma, unfortunately, with the Shredder dead, or the Shredder not in that engagement. Oh man, Shredder, what were you doing during that time? They need that DPS during that huge Black Hole. As looks like the tree Shredder is gonna get the heck in and out of these engagements, but a beautiful defense by the Scourge gonna mean Puck's death. Does he have a Blink Dagger? He's getting constantly damaged, as the Ion Shell was able to tick through. Just now pops the BKB is the Dragon, but he doesn't have an Aegis anymore. And will they go after the Courier? Lifesteal is still in there. He wants to go back on the offensive. Can he go back on the offensive? The Shredder hook misses the bash. The Surge gonna be super effective. Just kidding, because Lifestealer and the Dragon Knight Fire Breath gonna clean up the rest of the mess. But that Black Hole might have gotten the Scourge back in the game, as that was a huge Black Hole, but unfortunately Shredder was not there to provide some damage with all of his spells. Not too sure what he's doing. Shredder's spells low cooldown, pretty decent DPS, but unfortunately that Black Hole, good for holding people in place. Not too much follow-up after that for the Scourge. So that might just delay the inevitable for the Sentinel, as Hyperstone picked up by the Lifesteal. Took out some CS, 103 on the Nyx. He farmed ridiculously well in the early game, and since the Sentinel are going on the aggressive, he's not been able to farm too much recently. Meanwhile, there's going to be engagement on the middle lane. Dragon Knight trying to get the heck out of there. Dragon Knight and Nyx just so tanky, as they have BKB and Armlet respectively. But Enigma easily blinks out, and it's going to be miserable for Lifestealer and Nyx trying to get kills on heroes like Darkseer, Enigma. Ridiculously difficult. Soul Catcher going to be used. Did it hit a creep? Not too sure, but it looks like the Liquid Fire going to be popped. And the Nyx is going to go back in. Shredder going to try to do as much damage. Jakiro going to take the fall immediately. Lifestealer trying to steal as much life as possible. Going to get pushed back by the Adaptive Strike. A couple more hits will mean the death of the Lifestealer, but he's trying to Lifesteal off the Enigma. Surge going to be used. Lifestealer does take the fall, but meanwhile Dragon Knight on the back line looks like Goblin Sheriff found some trees, and he hooked up to them as he managed to escape from the Wrath of the Dragon Knight. Hug has just been on a tear recently. SD managed to kill off Incy Enigma, and now Darkseid is going to take the fall. Puck comes in, gets a Dagon KS, or the Dagon kill up onto TNK. Darkseid buys back, but not too sure what he can do with 3 of his allies dead. This is not a worthy buyback, and now Morphling. Will he be able to escape? This might be why he bought back to try to save his Morphling, but it looks like Dragon Knight picked up a Helm Dominator as well, doing a bit more damage. Vacuum gonna suck back the puck, and Morphling will be okay. So I suppose that was a worthy buyback to save his Morphling, but Morphling might have been okay nonetheless. Darkseer's items, we'll just do a quick item check. Picked up the mechanism, so I guess the trends in the Dota 2 scene have switched to the Dota 1 scene as well. Enigma, after that Blink Dagger, has not been able to make too much item progression. Jakiro trying to get a Force Staff eventually. Bob picks up a Point Booster. Do not think Shredder has an Acronyms upgrade just yet, so Point Booster, just for the heck of it at this point, gives us some health and mana. Pretty old school these days. Is there going to be push on the middle lane? Puck picks up a Yule Scepter. Still only Dagon level 1, because 1 is all you need, apparently. Meanwhile, Dragon Knight, 2100 gold in the bank. This Dragon Knight is just getting so farmed so fast. 9, 1, and 5 will do that with for you, especially with the 17-minute Animatus. Not too sure why he went for a 17-minute Animatus, but hey, gives him attack speed and gives him some extra gold, so I suppose, you know, it's not terrible, but it probably won't be worth it in this game, as it does take a decent amount of time for Animatus to pay out, or to pay back its cost. But looks like there's going to be engagement in the middle lane, as no, Puck was just juking everybody back and forth. But yeah, Scourge going to try to have to turtle up. They have strong turtling heroes. They have Enigma, whose Black Hole will be up. I do think, yes, Black Hole is up. He has Blink Dagger. They have Darkseer, one of the best turtling heroes in the game. They have a hero with relatively low cooldowns with relatively decent damage in the form of Goblin Shredder. And if the Sentinel are not careful, they're going to have to be careful, or they're going to have to watch their backs, apparently. That's what I'm trying to say. Dragon Knight popping the Elder Dragon form, so the push is going to be incoming relatively soon. Blink Dagger in by Xiaoshan, pops the wards, cannot get the Shackle off. Xiaoshan will take an immediate fall, gets disrupted by the Shadow Demon. Will he die? He pops off an Ether Shock at the last instance. Will he even die? Not too sure. Morphling wants to go in, but the Xiaoshan Oh man, he manages to survive. He will survive, but no, the Chakra manages to pick up the kill, as looks like the Wall of Illusion and a Black Hole catching 3 heroes, but looks like he got stunned. Not too sure how he got stunned, as I think, no, the Puck with the Dream Coil. Nice positioning by the Puck. Manages to escape, as Shredder, taking a bunch of damage, cannot grapple out to the trees in time, and looks like the Sentinel just cleaning up the Scourge at this point, left and right. Gonna be in the middle rack, so that Black Hole pretty solid, but that Puck, Inma, definitely the MVP of this game, as he was managed to get in position all these engagements, getting Dagon kills, getting Dream Coil kills, completely shutting down the Morphling by himself. When have you ever seen a Puck shut down a Morphling so hard? I have not seen that in quite a while. And, you know, I'm a bit puzzled why Puck is not seen in Dota 2, because he's a pretty strong hero. But, maybe Dota 2 right now is so flexible, because we're seeing so many different heroes at this moment. So maybe we'll see Puck once again. As keep in mind, at this point last year, Puck was the first pick, first banned status hero in both the Chinese and the Southeast Asian scenes. Did quite a good amount of work, and that was even before the phase shift changed. Looks like Darkseer gonna be able to surge himself out of there, and Enigma gonna take a bit of damage. Enigma managing to hit some nice position black holes, but unfortunately not enough DPS, and Puck was there to interrupt the last black hole. Puck playing like Avenge in that regard, just staying the heck out. See Enigma? Guess what? Dream Coil it up. And Enigma can't do too much. Nyx has finished the Assault Cures. So we're just going to check out the hero kills and scores. I want to see how Puck is doing. 12 and 3. Don't know, he died 3 times. Meanwhile, Lifestealer 6 and 1. So everybody's died. Meanwhile, the only hero doing well is Darkseer. Actually, Abba is doing reasonably well, but unfortunately has not made too much item progression. Going to hook in for the Shao Shaman. Urn is going to be used as well. Shao Shaman does manage to die as he blinked back to his death. But still, Sentinel in an overwhelming advantage as they managed to blink out. Somehow managed to sense that Dragonite going to go to town onto that Twin-Head Dragon. Some Dragon on Dragon action going on right there. But props to BKB. Already used the Dragon form, so they're going to have to wait for that to cool down, or they're going to have to make the move right now. They could make their move right now as he had a minuses another creep. Going to pick up a Hyperstone, probably going to go for a Mjolnir. Only about 25 seconds left on that Dragon form, so they're going to have to make their move right now, and they are going to do that. Going to Lothar's in the Dragonite, but that True Sight constantly on the tower, going to be able to reveal Dragonite's positioning. That Elder Dragon form is going to cool down. Just going to check that cooldown Black Hole really quickly. 35 seconds left on that Black Hole cooldown. But Puck is always keeping himself far back, so it looks like the Sentinel going to back up because the Dragonite form is going to expire. But rest assured, it will be back in 50 seconds. As a duration of 60 seconds, cooldown of 110, if I'm not mistaken. No, they didn't even care, as a bot match kill Inma. Inma, not too sure what he was doing, but trying to get an immediate Dream Coil up, and looks like a bot gets surged, gonna try to blink staff, or tree himself out of there, but gonna get stunned down. Chakram gonna try to do as much damage as possible to Shao Shaman, but eventually does get bursted down. Morphling just only with the Liquid Sphere at this point, pretty much does no damage. Trying to go to town this Lifestealer. Can he pick up a kill? One more hit does pick off the Lifestealer, but looks like Shao Shaman, those wards, and the Dragonite might be enough to seal Sentinel the game. No, Shao Shaman does take the fall, so this Rax is gonna stand as Dragonite, no detection as usual by the Southeast Asians. And this courier getting harassed a bit as he's cutting down the trees to try to get at the courier. And Lakel's managed to pick up the Shadow Demon, and this Rax will stand once again. I'm just going to check out detection on these guys, as they would have been able to end a pretty big streak right there. And got no detection. Who needs detection when you have towers? But when towers are dead, that's when you need detection. So Dragonite going to be very content. Pick us up another Assault Cures, because why the heck not? Double Assault Cures, this is a show match, so, you know, might as well give him some attack speed, give him some more armor, because he totally needs armor. Dragon thingy gives you like 12 armor now at level 4, so it's pretty powerful for Dragonite. As, yeah, Scourge trying to hold on as long as possible. Pipe Pinch on the Darkseer. Not too sure how much that will do, considering a lot of damage comes from the Dragonite Splash, the Serpent Wards, and the Lifestealer. But I suppose every bit of defense will help. They have a pretty strong turtling team, but unfortunately they've just not been able to make too much item progression, especially this Morphling who's having a miserable time. Probably shouldn't even save for buyback, should probably just go for defensive item, because if they lose this Rax, this game is all but over. Meanwhile, Dragonite gonna go to town onto these neutrals, farm up a stack. try to pick off the Aegis probably, because Rosh is back. The Scourge, they're going to smoke up because they think the Sentinel are rushing, but the Observer Ward did not spawn out because they were smoked. But looks like the Sentinel, they are not rushing, as the smoke is not dispelling, so they know that they are not rushing. The range of smoke, I think, is 800 or 900, but still very capable of dispelling. And meanwhile, the Sentinel going to do a counter smoke, going to try to initiate as Morphling Force Staff in by the Dragon Knight with the Lothar's Edge. As Dragon Knight's going to get stunned, might pop the BKB, not just going to tank it like a man. Dream Coil going to be used, Morphling immediately pops it. Pipe going to be used by the Darkseer. Morphling held in place for a decent amount of time as Darkseer going to get completely war trapped. Nicely done by the Rasta as well. Replica was casted by the Darkseer in the nick of time, but unfortunately Chaotic Teamfight is not what the Scourge want. They want the Sentinel to be clumped up for the Black Hole. Jakiro going to take the fall as well. One more hit by the Life Steward. Ice Path trying to do as much as possible. Meanwhile, Bob managed to pick off the Shadow Shaman, trying to take a bit of revenge, but Morphling has to get the heck out of there, taking too much damage. And Life Steward and Dragon Knight still alive. Hooks in for a tree, but Dragon Knight was there waiting in the wings with a hit. Dust going to be used just to say, I managed to get Dust, guys. Don't sweat it. That Dragon Knight, he's completely revealed. He's completely exposed. And meanwhile, Puck goes to town, finishes off the job. Ultra kill being picked up by B, the Life Steward, saying, Dragon Knight, why are you hogging all the glory? I want to get in on some of this action as well. So this looks like to be the end of this game. Let me just see the nationalities of the Scourge. All of these guys are Thai. Recalculation is Thai. Gigabyte, Ideal Gigabyte is Thai. So I guess it's Thai versus Thailand versus the other regions, because SVR is Cambodian. Meanwhile, the rest, no, Gigabyte Ideal. Well, maybe just one Thai player stood in for the Sentinel, but the rest of the people are Philippines. No, Gigabyte Ideal as well. Man, I'm getting complete. Maybe Ideal. No, I think Ideal.Gigabyte is is Thai, and iZone is Filipino. But I guess just a lot of Thai people playing in, and some Filipinos decide to join in as well. But this is going to be in this match as Goblin Cherry going to take a couple more hits. Uses Ghost Scepter, but unfortunately too little too late. But we see Goblin Cherry, a very interesting hero to watch. His Dream Coil just going to black hole through the Dream Coil, and Morphling going to say finally going to get it done as GG's called by the Dragon Knight, knowing that it is inevitable. So, and it's a show match, so I really doubt this is bad manners anyway. We're all friends here in the Dota 1 community in Southeast Asia. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this game, as we're just waiting for the throne to die so I can pause, bring down the final score screen. No, Dragon Knight, or Jakiro, trying to go back in. This throne, longest living throne ever, as Goblin Shredder going to use Whirling Death. Puck blinks out. Not too sure why the Goblin Cherry doesn't leave out the Chakram for a bit longer, as it's not percentage-based mana drain like the Storm Spirit, but it's rather a constant mana drain like Pulse Nova and Voodoo Restoration. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this game, as you can look at the final score screen. But yeah, let me know how much more Dota 1 do you see? Do you want me to cast? Considering, you know, there's a lot of games coming up. If there's some GEST November Dota 1 games, I'll try to get my hands on some of those. If you want to watch more Dota 1 content, check out the Screen Guard Guide. Just did a dual commentary with Luminous on old school games. Screen Guard Guide, probably one of the most awesome Dota 1 casters, because he's very chill, very relaxed, and he really just likes Dota 1, or casting it. Very exciting. But yeah, unless it has new heroes, maybe if there's another ban game, and I might cast one Skywrath Mage game, because there are 2 games that are currently available with Skywrath Mage, so I might cast one of them. But other than that, really, there's just not enough Dota 1, because Dota 1 replays are just slowing to a trickle, apparently. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this cast, but thank you for watching, and have a fantastic day.